can't
I
wait.
can't even see his face. I guess he knows
Yeah.
we're on. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Social Service Committee meeting of June 28th. First on the agenda, I would ask us to approve the previous minute from the last meeting. Okay. Motion?
So move.
It's a move. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Hearing none, it's unanimous. Current business, the first order of agenda tonight, we have a special person here tonight, someone I've worked with for 15 years. But first of all, I'm going to introduce Mr. Mike McLaughlin, our county executive's policy analyst, to introduce our guests.
Thank you very
Mr.
much,
McLaughlin.
Madam Chairman. So,
Thank you.
what we have is basically an authorization to contract with Capital District Youth Center Incorporation. It's alphabet soup, CDYCI. I mean, this will be for the administration and management of the juvenile detention facility, which is located over near our correctional facility and airport area. To my left, to your right, depending on where you're seated, is Rocky Ferraro from CDRPC. Rocky has for how many years? How many years have you been doing this?
Well, I've been executive director for about 12 years.
So for an excessively long time, he has been doing the job of making sure that facility is run at a high level, which it has been. So the county executive and the legislature decided to move forward with managing the facility as is, given CDYCI and CDRPC's success at the facility in the past. We didn't want to change anything. It is a very complex arrangement that exists between Albany County, Rocky, correct me if I'm wrong, Albany County, Rensselaer County, Saratoga County, and Schenectady County to collectively run this facility and have beds available to all those counties for placement. And so with that, I'll kind of open it up to questions. I know there had been some before. Hopefully I was able to answer most of those prior to this meeting, but if there's any other questions, Rocky is here to go into some details.
Okay, thank you. After you've read your agenda, do you have any questions about the Youth Detention Center?
Just a comment, if I can.
Yes, go ahead, Pat Lockhart.
It's a great facility.
Thank you.
And I remember when he first broke ground, how many years ago that was, but
20.
very, very valuable to the area police department, Public Works, do a fabulous job over there.
Thank you.
On the board.
If I may also, I do want to add, and Rocky and I were just discussing this, just for something for all county people to kind of have on their mind. With the recent push for raise the age, if and when that were to ever pass, that would make this facility even more important, given the job it does. So that's something that, really indicated to our office that we should continue with the existing relationship.
And as a point of reference, if I may, it's operating now as a 16-bed facility, but we put in addition, it was designed, initially built as a 16-bed facility with the opportunity to make it 24 beds. Within a couple of years, it became a 24-bed facility. Back in 2008 or so, we went back to a 16-bed facility. So we do have those 8 beds, if you will, that would be available in terms of raising the age issue comes into play associated with that. And there's something magical, the magic number, you should basically have an 8-to-1 ratio in terms of staffing. That's why 1624.
Mr. Bergdorf, you had a question?
Actually, you answered part of it. I was just going to ask you what the current census was and how does it break down between the counties?
Okay, the current census, for the last 5 months, since May, I haven't got the numbers yet officially for June, but we've been at about 85% utilization rate. In terms of the counties, Albany County generally has anywhere from 1/3 to 1/2 the children at the facility. The other, Schenectady County, though, has been picked up more, so Albany County's gone down a little bit, and Schenectady County's been picked up. It does fluctuate, because the kids aren't there for a long period of time. It's until the case is adjudicated, so it can be anywhere from 24 hours. The average stay is about 9 days, but we do have some kids who are there for, I call it juvenile offenders, JOs, that could be up there for 6 months or so. We do have kids that come in from other counties as well. We have a contract, for instance, with Oneida County. With Oneida County, we actually have a contract, and they have a bed guaranteed at the facility. So if a child needs to go to the facility from Oneida County, they're guaranteed a bed if it happens to be full, and they are occupying one. They pay a per diem rate, a lower per diem rate if it's not being used, but they're, as part of that guarantee, they do pay a per diem rate. It's about half of what the actual per diem rate is that we charge. The owner counties, counties that Mike had alluded to, they do not pay if they do not utilize it. Albany County is guaranteed 8 bed days a day. However, if you have only 6 children there, you're not being charged for those 2 additional days. There's no charge. Though we could do that, we've never invoked that requirement.
Very good. Any other questions? Mr. Bullock?
Has your employment grown, and do you have contracts with your employee unions?
Okay. In terms of contracts, Berkshire Farm, we have, CDYCI has a contract with Berkshire Farm.
Okay.
They provide the staffing at the facility. And my role as chief administrator is to make sure that everything is being adhered to properly. And then we have the board, and I do want to acknowledge Lucille and the great job that she does. She serves on both CDRPC and she's the representative on the CDYCI board, along with Mike Morelli and Bill Connors. But Lucille has been there almost since day one, and she does a great job. In fact, she's currently a secretary.
Yes.
But, so we contract, now Berkshire Farm contract, it was a 3-year contract, it terminates at the end of the year. And that's why I appreciate you guys taking action, to hope you take action, because we have to see about renewing that contract with Berkshire Farm.
That's SEIU?
I'm sorry.
SEIU union?
I honestly don't know
Yeah, it is.
who the Berkshire Farm,
It
the
is.
staff there.
I know.
Yeah, I do have to say, the staff I speak to, they're very happy to be there. The assistant director, Kareem, has been there since day one, 20 years ago when the facility opened up, as well as Gene Terry, the director, the facility director.
You're still there.
And, yeah.
Yes.
So both Kareem and Gene are there, and I know I get to interact. Because I go there, I don't, sometimes, I'll give Gene a call, saying, Gene, I'm coming over in an hour or 2 type of thing. So I'm able to go there, I don't say unannounced, because I have to announce, but, and just see how the operations are going. And it's for those of you who may visit, it's very well run.
I'm a big proponent of raise the age to 21.
Okay.
So how much would that be an increase for you in your facility?
We're maxed out at 24 beds if we were to.
24?
Yeah, because unless there's, the building footprint is for 24 beds, and even to be honest with you, the way it's designed, when you're putting in 18-year-old children and with 12-year-olds, it does create an issue
Yes,
in
right.
terms of separation and things like that. And you've got the gang influences and those types of things that we have to be cognizant of. You can't have groups of like more than 3 kids who are paisans with each other hanging out. You got to be careful about how those arrangements take place. So, but 24 beds.
Thank you.
Everybody kind of understands the concept and what we're doing here. Going to continue the program with the Capital District Youth Detention Center will continue on as it's been running since the 1990s. So any other questions or concerns? Let's vote on it. I hear a motion to move it.
Second.
Motion to move. Do I hear a second?
Second.
And a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Hearing none, it's unanimous. Thank you, Mr. Ferrera, for coming down, and I never call you Mr. Ferrera, but I'm.
I know, and I can call you Madam Chairman, Chairwoman.
I know, you never say that to me before either.
I know.
It's good to see you, and thanks for coming this evening to share with us.
And thank you for your support.
Okay.
Because of Albany County and the other 3 counties that I'm able to run a great facility like we're able to run.
Well, what's going to happen, this will go to the floor for a vote on the 11th, right, everybody? And we will be prepared to vote on the floor and make this a legal resolution. Okay?
Thank you very much.
Thank you. You have a good evening, sir.
Thanks, Ricky.
Mhm. Thank you, Mr. McLaughlin, for your assistance. Okay, number 2. Mr. Coffey is here.
Yes,
Thank you.
good evening.
Mr. Slacky is not slacking around tonight.
Sitting
Okay,
in for
good to
Mr.
see
Slack,
you,
who's
sir.
out of town.
Authorizing agreement with the Kim RX Pharmacy Services LLC regarding pharmacy services for the nursing home.
Yeah, ChemRx happens to be our current vendor. We sent out
Yes.
an RFP in May, and we had 5 respondents.
Continue.
3 of us evaluated the project based on the criteria that was established by ourselves and the purchasing department. And ChemRx came in at the lowest cost of the, responder. And the proximity to the facility is great. They're located in Colonnade, which means that we have our drugs readily available, and new residents come in. If they come in late in the day, we'll have access to the medications they need in a timely fashion as compared to some of the other facilities that responded that were off-site. But overall, they provide a great service for us, and we'd like to continue with them.
Okay. Anybody have any questions for Mr. Coffey about Kim? Questions or concerns? No? Can I have a motion to approve? Motion's been made, and the motion has been second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Hearing none, it's unanimous. Thank you very much for
Thank you
coming
very
down.
much.
Okay, then. Okay, the next item is, okay, just coming in. Michelle is here. Good evening, Michelle.
Good evening,
That's
Madam
right.
Chair.
Okay. Number 3, authorizing agreement with the Hope House, Inc. regarding a woman, children's, and community residence.
Yes,
Michelle.
thank you. Good evening, everyone. We're respectfully requesting approval to renew a agreement with Hope House for a residential treatment program for women with their minor children from ages 0 to 9. So it will allow up to 21 women to be able to have residential treatment and have their children living with them at that same time, which is good for everyone, good for the family and good for the women themselves and their recovery.
Anybody have any questions about this Hope House contract?
Where's it located?
The location of this program is gonna be clear.
It's over by, is this Troy?
It's existing, no, it's in
No, this is
Albany.
over by IDR.
Let me
North
find
Pearl
out for
Street.
sure. It
North
says
Pearl.
40 Colvin Avenue, but
Colvin
that's
Avenue.
not
Okay.
where the
Administrative-
facility
That's
is.
the administrative
Not
office, yeah.
Yeah.
It's just
I think it's over by Yarborough Apartments, correct?
North Pearl Street.
Livingston
North
Ave, thank you. Thank you.
Livingston
Sorry.
Ave, okay, here we go, we got it. Livingston Ave,
Oh, okay.
okay.
Is that like by Whitney Young or no?
Yes.
Tivoli?
Tivoli.
Oh, that's the newer facility
Oh,
out there,
oh,
right,
oh,
okay.
okay.
You're the corner Quail.
By where two cousins are
Yeah.
fish market.
Oh,
area.
okay,
Oh, the
yeah.
new facility. Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't know
Oh,
that was
okay.
that.
I didn't either.
That's true, yes.
Nobody told me that.
Thank you for that
I
clarification.
know.
Anybody have any more questions?
Pass it every day.
Drive by
I hear a
all the
motion.
time.
Wait,
Oh, wait, okay, I'm sorry, Joanne.
So what's the occupancy of this? I imagine it's a highly in demand facility.
It's averaging, over the past year, it averaged 24 people total, including the children and the women.
Okay.
It has capacity for 21 adults,
Okay,
and I think it was 12 children.
Right.
So,
Oh, okay.
so do you
Can't
have
have
a
it.
wait list for this?
not at this time, there hasn't been,
Okay.
so.
And what's the average length of stay for?
Well, I'd have to find out for sure, but these are usually 90-day
90-day
treatment
program.
facilities. I don't know if this one goes up to 120 days.
Okay. And do you, what's the success rate of being successful for a
I
resident?
don't know that part, but I can find out more information on the program itself.
Yeah,
and
just-
kind of what, how it works.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Are there any more concerns or questions? Do I hear a motion? Motion's made, do I hear a second? Motion second, all in favor? Aye. Any opposition? Hearing none, it's unanimous. Okay, number 4, authorize an agreement with Cornell Cooperative Extensions regarding the Home Energy Assistance Program, a HEAP program. Everybody knows the HEAP program. There we go.
Yes, thank you. We're requesting approval for renewing a contract with Cornell to conduct the outreach and education component of the HEAP program to help people enroll in HEAP, to raise awareness about the HEAP program exists. And this subcontract with Cornell provides, answers all the phone calls coming into the HEAP program. That's about 11,000 phone calls a year, processes them and forwards any that need to come to DSS. They handle the application, they get all the applications together, all the documentation that's needed, they have it all ready, and they send it over to our eligibility examiners to process. And they process about half of the walk-in type applications per year for us through this contract.
Great. Any more questions or concerns for Michelle?
Just a not directly related question. One of the constituents in Norman's district approached me last Thursday, somebody who I know from the community. They happen to live at 400 Central Avenue, and they have a chronic need for air conditioning. And I talked to the people from the HEAP program, and they said that because they live in 400 Central Avenue, that they're not eligible for summer air conditioning through HEAP. I didn't understand the basis for that, because it seems to me it should be, constituent or person related rather than location related. And, whatever the reason is, you probably let me know later, but the other thing is there some other alternative you're aware of for somebody who has a chronic medical need for air conditioning? They're on public assistance.
Is that a public housing facility?
Well, that's the problem. I don't think it's directly public housing.
No,
Is it,
that's not public.
It's-
Well, there are rules.
It's Capital
Green.
Capital Green Apartments.
So we just ran into this question recently from a question related to the South Mall Towers as well. And what we found out is utilities and heat included in the individual's bill?
The explanation I got is if heat is provided, then air conditioning during the summer can't be, which still doesn't make
Correct.
sense.
So the state and federal guidelines related to qualifying for the cooling element related to heat does not allow somebody who has their utility bill built into their rent to qualify.
That's crazy.
So, we don't set those rules, that's the way it is set up. If it's a specific case, I'm currently having South Mall Towers work with Department for Aging to identify if there's any other ways of accessing funding for, so shoot me some contact information, Murray, and we can go by case basis, but that is actually, aside from you need a medical note or documentation of your medical
That's not an
need.
issue.
But the regulation does state that if your utility is built into your rent, then you do not qualify.
Because they assume this is mostly a heating program, so
No,
I think
yeah.
they assume
Yeah.
your heat is taken care of. That's their philosophy, but
Okay.
Because heating is generally,
I'm not gonna go
You
into the
can't
line.
Philosophy-
slash air conditioning.
the heating was, from that philosophy, was the heating units in buildings are boilers and they're throughout the buildings, and the ACs weren't necessarily like that, so it didn't work out.
Okay, though.
Especially with
Thank
global
you.
To be
warming.
continued.
Okay, any other questions about the heat program? Thank you very much, Commissioner.
Okey-dokey.
Are we prepared to vote?
Yes.
Yeah,
I hear motion. Motion's made, and second. All in favor?
Aye.
In opposition? Hearing none, it's unanimous. Thank you. Thank you. Miguel, good evening, Gail. Tag team group, all right. Good evening. Good evening to both. Number 5, okay, authorizing agreement regarding the 2016 Summer Youth Employment Program and amending the 2016 Department for Children, Youth, and Families budget.
Yes, good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
The department respectfully requests legislative authorization to enter into agreement with Albany County DSS in regards to the Summer Youth Employment Program. Annually, the Office of Temporary Disabilities Assistance allocates funding to local districts in order to facilitate summer youth employment programs. This year, Albany County was allocated $516,140. When the funding is allocated from OTDA, local districts have the option of administering the program themselves or assigning the money over to the WIB. Historically, Albany County has chosen to allocate the funding over to the WIB to have them administer the program. We do retain a portion of the money to cover administrative costs associated with facilitating the program. The amount that we're looking to retain is $43,000, $28,000 of which will be specifically for the administrative costs that we incur in terms of facilitating the program, as well as $15,000 for a contract with Cornell Cooperative Extension because of the work that they do in terms of getting applications and oversight of the programs in that community.
Very good. Are there any questions for the commission? Mr. Bergdahl?
This is the first time I've seen this. I read the information. Who is the Workforce Investment Board?
So the Workforce Investment Board is an employment entity that is housed within the city, but that is a very unique setup, unique to Albany County. So this setup and the reasons that we have to do these arrangements is really a function of the fact that if you go to Schenectady County's Workforce Investment Board, which provides employment services and things like that, and they do that for our Department of Social Services as well, is within the Schenectady County Department of Social Services. Same in Rensselaer County. In Albany County, and I apologize, it predates me, and I'm guessing predates many folks around the table, it was set up so that Albany County is a member of the Workforce Investment Board, but it is housed within the city of Albany, within their Youth and Recreation Department. So, whereas most counties, when they receive this funding, on the award letter, you can check, or the award letter response, you can check DSS will keep it or pass it through to WIB. We have traditionally passed through to WIB, but in our case, it actually goes to a different municipal entity, even though the program is still county-wide. So the money that's passed through does not hit county books, it goes straight to the WIB board. The WIB has many decades, frankly, of experience running the program as a county-wide program, and so on and so forth.
Okay, I guess my next question is, if we're using $473,000 that was originally programmed, to Albany County, and we take out the $43,000 of administrative funding, how many jobs does that create? And am I wrong in assuming that they all go to the city of Albany?
Yes, that is incorrect. They don't all go to the city of Albany.
Okay, could you explain how they're distributed and how that works?
Okay, so the funding is specifically for TANF eligible kids. So they have to meet the criteria to be designated as eligible for TANF funding, and that's based on the poverty percentage that is set. So this funding is specifically for that population. So across the board, in terms of summer youth employment, this funding would not go towards those youths that don't meet the TANF eligibility criteria. This is specifically set aside for that. And the way the funding is allocated is that there is the program within the city of Albany, and then there is additional programming throughout Albany County. So in terms of the youth that are placed within work sites within Albany City, that's where the focus of the Workforce Investment Board takes place. In terms of the youths that are employed in Ravenna, in Bern, in Westerlo, that's where we're facilitating, that's where we're retaining the administrative costs, because we're facilitating those placements. That's why we have the contract with Cornell, because they're overseeing some of those sites, as well as they'll be providing financial literacy program workshops for the youth in those areas.
And what kind of jobs do the kids get?
Oh, it could be within the parks, it could be within working at some of the local
Part-time.
like construction. It varies.
We recruit different locations every year, and that's also part of what Cornell does too. You're constantly breeding places to place kids. Sometimes they continue the next year, sometimes they change. It runs the gamut.
Pardon my ignorance, but what are the TANF guidelines? What determines eligibility?
Oh, I don't have the specifics, and I
I mean,
don't want
just
to
generally,
mislead, but usually
yeah.
about 200% of the.
Is that federally driven?
Yes,
Yes.
TANF is Temporary Assistance for Needy Families Program.
That's right, it is 200%
Yeah.
of the.
Attaboy.
Pipeline, yay!
TANF was established under the Clinton administration with
Yes,
welfare
TANF.
reform. That's where TANF came from, so.
It stands for Temporary Assistance to Needy Families.
Needy
Okay.
That replaced.
And they can extend even after
Correct.
summer periods too, can't they? I mean, like August is summer,
Yes,
September.
the program,
Yes.
well, the dates for the program this year will be July 5th through August 16th, I want to say.
August 16th, okay, sounds good.
Now, is there any way for other communities that may have eligible recipients to nominate someone or to get them included?
Yes, actually, We have, besides the city of Albany and Ravenna, Burn, Knox, Westerlo, there are also Cohoes, Green Island, Ward of Elite. Those areas as well are serviced through this program.
Okay.
And so, and basically, the focus is regarding those communities where traditionally you're gonna find youth that are going to meet the TANF guidelines, but that doesn't exclude anyone as long as they are able to meet the TANF guidelines.
Okay.
And just so, there's some confusion too, because folks from the city of Albany say that's not, the city of Albany, for their population that they serve, supplements. So they actually have certain individuals who don't qualify from a TANF perspective that qualify for the city program. So there's some confusion, and folks say, what do you mean you have to be TANF qualified? But that is solely a city of Albany function because they backfill with their own funding for other jobs. But that is not, that's not something that the county does related to the other areas. The other areas, we serve the TANF eligible populations as outlined under the Summer Youth Employment Program.
Okay, I was a little confused, but Joanne.
A couple
It is.
questions. So of the 473, how much actually goes into the pockets of TANF eligible young people for jobs?
As many as applications that are received, that are approved, that would be, that total funding would be able to cover. So
Okay.
basically, it's taking applications, and as long as they meet the criteria and they're approved, in order to hit that amount. So the goal
Okay.
is not to have any funding left on the table.
So, but does that 473 that goes to the WIB, does that also include some administrative costs that they pull out of that figure?
Yes, it does to a certain degree. There's a
Okay.
limited cost that
So-
they
There,
incur
it's
as well.
15%.
Okay.
You can, up to 15%
So it's
can be
another 15.
allocated to administrative
Another
costs as
43.
outlined by OTDA.
So we're taking, the county gets the 43 admin, and then there's another admin out of the pot that goes to the WIB.
Yes.
Okay, and is this is obviously, when the money runs out, it runs out. So
Correct.
it's, you're eligible, you're given a job for the summer, and then once you're at the cap of, you know, how much money is being, is
available,
is in the
correct.
bucket,
Mhm.
it's done.
Right, and again, the goal is to try and expend all the funds. Last year, there was some funding left on the board.
Okay.
So, you know, the goal is to recruit, and really be able to get as many youths in the program as possible.
Okay.
And we've actually seen some success this year in terms of the number of youth just within the Ravenna and Burn, Knox, Westerlo area. We're looking at over 50 youth, where last year we had about 40. So we're very excited to see those numbers increase.
Good. Ms. Lockhart.
Thank you. Commissioner, I know this has been an ongoing program for many years. Do you think you could provide us with, like, say, the last 3 or 4 years of how many children and from what areas?
Yes,
that they
actually,
were,
there's
you know,
a.
there was 7,000 in Ravenna or whatever.
Absolutely, there's an annual report that needs to be submitted to
Oh, I thought so, yeah.
account for the funding, so yes, we can, the last 3 years you'd like?
Yeah, just to give us kind of an idea of how the program's going.
The success of the program.
Yeah, maybe if you could forward it to the chairwoman, she could get it out to all of
Yeah,
us.
I will.
I'm
I
sure
will certainly
everybody else
get
is
it done.
interested
Yeah.
as well.
Get these guys to send them all an email out.
I'd like to know.
I just have one last question.
Right, Bruno.
Nobody ever likes to talk about money, but how do these jobs compare in dollars per hour with other seasonal jobs in Albany County? What kind of level do we pay?
It's paid at the minimum wage.
Minimum wage.
Minimum wage,
It's-
about $11 an hour.
It's paid at the minimum wage. So,
Okay.
what is the minimum wage currently? But that's
Okay.
what they make, is the
Okay,
minimum
no,
wage.
thank you, I appreciate that.
Can I
Any
just
more
ask one
questions?
more
Ms.
question?
Cunningham, you had another
Is
question?
there a career path component? So if you have an 18-year-old who's accessing, or 17-year-old accessing this program, is it constructed so that there's some sort of, you know, pathway by some of the employers to position them for beyond?
It is amazing the amount of paperwork that is associated with this program. And one of that entails for the youth to provide information about their interests. Is there a particular area that they would like to work in? And to the best that we can accommodate it, we will try to link them with a job in that area.
Okay.
And then part of that is why, within the last 2 years, OTDA has also added the criteria about financial literacy component, that all youth who participate in the Summer Youth Employment Program also need to be provided with the literacy programming in order to, again, facilitate that skill set in terms of vocation, employment, education, money management.
Okay. Good. Any other questions? I hear a motion.
So moved.
So moved. I hear a second. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Hearing none. Number 6, authorizing an agreement with the New York State Office of Children and Family Services regarding additional funding for the overtime pay.
Thank you. The department is seeking legislative authorization to accept funding from the New York State Office of Children and Family Services to amend the 2016 Albany County adopted budget by increasing the overtime line by $120,000. New York State, the Office of Children and Family Services recognizes the challenges within this work in terms of when it comes to reports of abuse and neglect and the impact that has in terms of the caseload sizes and really looking to provide the resources and supports for caseworkers in order to be able to meet the mandates of their jobs. And so as part of that support, through the general funds that is made available, they will designate certain counties based on their numbers in terms of receiving additional funding to assist in meeting those needs. And so Albany County was one of those designated counties, and we received $120,000. And we've, with that $120,000, we outlined a plan of really having some overtime projects to really assist the caseworkers in being able to have additional times to process paperwork. That plan was submitted to OCFS and it was approved.
Okay. Any questions, concerns? I hear a motion.
Make a motion.
Motion's made, I hear second. Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Hearing none, it's unanimous. And number 7, amending resolution number 384 for 2014 regarding additional foster care providers.
Yes, thank you.
Yes.
When the original RLA was submitted, it listed Kids Peace National Centers of North America as one of the providers to utilize when in need of foster care placement. As time has went on and we've needed to have additional resources, we've started to utilize their placement resources at their Kids Peace National Centers and their Kids Peace Children's Hospital. These are all subsidiaries of the same company, but they have different tax IDs, so they need to also be added to the contract. So that is the request, to be able to add the other subsidiaries to the contract in order to continue to utilize them as a placement resource.
Are there any questions? Concerns? None? Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Been moved and second? All in favor?
Aye.
Got number 8. Number 8 is gonna come with a little handout. I think we've had this discussion before. I think you made some presentations before, Commissioner,
I
about
did.
this item 8, and if everybody's familiar, but he's gonna give everybody a little handout here. Pass it, take one and pass it down, just to refresh yourself. Yeah. This is the one about the transportation and children with special needs, and I think you remember the presentation she made at the May meeting about this issue. And here's some support documentation. You might not even need to remember this, but this is what she spoke about. And there's some response here. So authorize agreement regarding the transportation of children with special needs to educate in the therapy program. It's a $2.9 million program. Commissioner, just share with us a bit.
Yes, so for children who have been identified with developmental disabilities, there's New York State law mandates that for those that have an IEP and are in need of services, that we facilitate transportation. And so this request is to renew our contract with Raja, who received the initial contractual agreement in 2015 via an RFP process. There were some questions that were forwarded in regards to the process as to the RFP and how Raja was chosen in regards to being awarded all 6 zones. I don't know if everyone has had a chance to review the information as yet, and if there are any specific questions in regards to it.
Well, of course, this is yours to take home, and I just passed it out. But, Mr. Cook, you have a choice?
Yes, these are preschool age kids, so what ages are we talking about?
3 to 5?
3 to 5. In the zones, there's 6 zones, but I don't think they're identified on this,
They're not.
so,
I can get you a copy. It's within Albany County and it's broken down, and unfortunately, I don't have that in front of me, but I can certainly get that to you just so you can visualize what that looks like.
thank you.
Any more questions? Oh, Mr. Bullock, I didn't see you here.
Quickly, why was Roger chosen over Northland?
It was actually not a arbitrary choice. Through the RFP process, we had 4 reviewers that reviewed both proposals that were submitted by Northland and Raja, which were the only 2 companies that submitted proposals. And there was a rating process, so each individual that reviewed the proposals scored them. Each zone was scored individually. It was an independent process, and based at the end of the process, when all the scores were tabulated, Raja outscored Northland. So it wasn't a subjective choice, I should say.
In the past, we've used both providers, which is what happens in this instance. It was,
CDTA doesn't get involved in this, right?
No.
Okay.
that'd be great if they did.
Yeah,
3-year-old OCD.
Yeah.
really.
3-year-old.
Are there any more questions about this particular handout and this resolution? Are you prepared to vote?
Yeah.
Make a motion? Motion's made. And then second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Hearing none, it's unanimous. Thank you very much, Mr. Commissioner.
Thank you.